Ever find yourself falling down a rabbit hole of random facts, wondering what else you don't know? Well, you're in luck. Today, I'm diving into 25 weird, wonderful, and completely unexpected facts you'd probably never think to Google yourself. From bizarre real-life Breaking Bad moments to ancient Greek trolls, mysterious islands that vanished, and even a bar on a deserted island, this list has it all. So, are you up for it? Because I'm Mike with List 25, and here are 25 interesting facts you're too lazy to Google. 25. COVID's unintended boom. When the world hit pause in 2020, the online adult entertainment industry pressed play. And fast forward. Platforms like OnlyFans, which launched in 2016, experienced explosive growth during the COVID-19 pandemic. To give you an idea, by 2023, within a mere 7 years of its starting date, OnlyFans reported over $6.6 billion in gross revenues. And if you look at the most popular terms searched on Google in November 2024, OnlyFans bagged the 34th spot with around 16.6 million curious clicks. I think it's safe to say that the pandemic didn't just change our social lives, it also rewired how people look for entertainment, all from the comfort of their own homes. 24. The 2024 elections had a secret weapon. Politics got a meme makeover this election season. Starting with Obama and Romney in 2012, memes have become a staple of US campaigns. But 2024 really brought them front and center. And their influence can no longer be ignored. Think Trump as Hulk Hogan or Harris scaling a coconut tree. Memes in 2024 weren't just jokes, they were strategy. Just look at the millions of followers each candidate pulled in. On X, formerly Twitter, Trump boasts approximately 94.2 million followers, while Harris holds a respectable 21.3. During the election season, both saw significant growth, with Trump gaining around 12 million and Harris around 6 million new followers. Now, unfortunately, while these viral bites can unite, well, they often divide. And this year they've amplified the political divide, turning generational humor into sharp political digs. 23. Board games are back. Maybe it's because we're reaching a bit of a screen fatigue moment in our evolution, but board games are back and bigger than ever, with the market projected to hit $21.56 billion by 2027. That's a lot of dice rolling and game nights. Classics like Ticket to Ride and Catan led the pack, but new games are joining the mix too. So forget the console, this is cardboard's time to shine. Cardboard's not that shiny though. 22. The sustainable fashion market is here to stay. Just how much are you into sustainable fashion? From the latest figures, sustainable fashion isn't just a trend, it's a movement, with the market valued at $7.8 billion in 2023 and expected to skyrocket to $33.05 billion by 2030. Consumers are consistently trading fast fashion for eco-friendly options, and their spending habits are forcing big brands to get on board. In fact, 60% of shoppers now say they look for sustainable or ethical brands when they shop. So it's clear, green is the new black, and eco-friendly fashion is strutting down the runway to stay. That's my catwalk. It's hard to do that in place. It's all in the hips, baby. 21. The ultimate out-of-this-world vacation is getting closer. I know most of us never even gave space tourism a second thought. I mean, it's hard to daydream about space vacations when our news feeds are full of doom and gloom. Plus, with prices sky high, it always seemed like a luxury for the ultra-rich. But all of that might be changing sooner than we think. Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin recently completed the first successful flight of its second New Shepard ship, expanding capacity for its 27th mission and adding a second human-related vehicle. Blue Origin's price tags vary, reportedly reaching up to $2.5 million for some customers. And now China's Deep Blue Aerospace is joining the race, with plans to launch paying customers by 2027 on its Nebula 1 rocket. They've already opened pre-sales with ticketing starting at 1.5 million yuan, which is about $162,000. While it's still a luxury vacation, the space tourism market is heating up, and prices are slowly coming down, bringing the possibility of a space-bound bucket list within reach. Someday. 20. Storing the future. Imagine storing all of your photos, movies, and files not on a hard drive, but on a tiny pane of glass. Microsoft's Project Silica is making it real, using lasers to etch complex 3D patterns into glass, which can hold terabytes of data in just a small square. The glass panes are practically indestructible, designed to withstand extreme heat, water, and even scratches, lasting thousands of years without losing a single byte. It's storage that could literally outlast us all. 19. We will be able to regrow lost teeth by 2030. For decades, losing a tooth meant a lifetime with a gap or a pricey implant. But scientists in Japan have developed a groundbreaking drug that can make natural tooth regrowth a reality. The drug works by blocking the USAG1 protein, which normally inhibits certain pathways needed for tooth formation. By removing this inhibition, the drug activates pathways that encourage new tooth growth, making regrowth in adults possible. Animal trials have already shown it's possible, and human trials kicked off earlier in 2024, starting with 30 men aged 30 to 64. If everything goes smoothly, this regrowth treatment could hit the public market by 2030. 18. Watergate made gate synonymous with scandal. The Watergate scandal didn't just bring down President Nixon, it also added a new word to the scandal dictionary. Since the 1972 break-in at the Democratic National Committee's headquarters at the Watergate complex, more than 200 scandals have had "gate" slapped onto them. Take Pizzagate, for instance. No, not the conspiracy theory, but the 2004 incident where a slice of pizza was famously thrown at Manchester United manager Sir Alex Ferguson after Arsenal's defeat. Or Horsegate in 2013, where horse meat was found in foods labeled as beef. And of course, Deflategate in 2015, when Tom Brady and the Patriots were accused of deflating footballs. Gate has become the go-to suffix for any public scandal, big or small. 17. MKUltra's connection to the Watergate scandal. Since I'm on the topic of Watergate, did you know it's forever tied to the infamous Project MKUltra? We all know MKUltra was the CIA's covert attempt to develop mind control techniques. But what many people don't know is that when the Watergate scandal broke, nearly all of MKUltra's records were destroyed. Only a small stash of documents stored separately was eventually found. A few extra files surfaced in 2001 and again in 2008, but with so much missing, a complete investigation into MKUltra will never truly be possible. They should have probably used those Project Silica. They're probably glad they didn't. 16. Titanic's tragedy hit Southampton the hardest. The sinking of the Titanic sent shockwaves around the world, but nowhere was the loss felt more deeply than Southampton. When news of the disaster broke, the grief in this port city was overwhelming. Nearly 1,000 local families were anxiously awaiting word on the fate of crew members, as most of these men were the sole breadwinners for their households. In fact, in Northam, Southampton, over 50% of one school's pupils lost their fathers in the tragedy. 15. The Lion King's inspiration for Scar's Be Prepared scene. The Lion King is a beloved classic, if not the most beloved, famous for its music, story, and unforgettable characters. But did you know that Scar's sinister Be Prepared scene was inspired by the Nazi propaganda film Triumph of the Will? Jürgen Krubine, one of the animators, envisioned Scar as a Hitler-like figure, and the directors ran with the idea, creating a scene reminiscent of a Nuremberg rally. The hyenas gather in rigid, militaristic formations, and Scar towers above them from a cliff, parallels to how Hitler was depicted in the propaganda film. Once you know that, the nod to Nazi imagery gives Scar's betrayal a terrible, real-world edge that makes his villainy feel even more disturbing. Bonus fact, in the middle of the song, you're going to hear a slight voice change because when Jeremy Irons says, "You won't get a sniff without me," he kind of ruined his throat, so Jim Cummings takes over for the rest of that song. And now that you know that, you won't be able to unhear it, so you're welcome. Yes, Jim Cummings, the voice of Winnie the Pooh and Pete and your childhood. 14. We can't explain Pitch Perfect. Not the movie. Pitch Perfect, or absolute pitch, is an extraordinary skill possessed by only about 1 in 10,000 people. People with perfect pitch can identify or sing any note without reference, whether it's the sound of a car horn or the ring of a doorbell. But what makes Pitch Perfect truly fascinating is its mysterious origin. Scientists can't quite agree on whether it's genetic, a result of early musical exposure, or a mix of both. Interestingly, it's more common in speakers of tonal languages like Mandarin, which rely heavily on pitch, which adds even more intrigue to the mystery. 13. The oldest Nobel Laureate. When we think of endurance, it's often about athletes or prodigies in their prime. But Arthur Ashkin defied that image entirely. Born in Brooklyn, Ashkin's fascination with science started young, all thanks to a Crookes radiometer he spotted in a pharmacy window. This spark led him to Columbia and then Cornell, where he earned his PhD and eventually joined Bell Labs. There he developed optical tweezers, an innovation allowing scientists to move particles with light. In spite of initial doubts, his research gained over 5,000 citations, making him one of the most cited scientists of his time. At 96, he became the oldest Nobel Prize winner, proving that, for him at least, curiosity never got old. And if you guys are enjoying this list, please give it a like, a share, a comment, just engage with us. It really helps the algorithm, which helps our channel immensely. So thank you guys so much. Truly appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. This is kind of the top. There's the bottom. Somewhere in here. Bottom. 12. The trouble with predicted algorithms. Now, speaking of algorithms, we're living in a time where tech is evolving so quickly that it's just tough to keep up. Sure, new gadgets and systems are supposed to make life easier, but some of these advancements are raising big concerns. Take predictive policing, for instance, a tool that uses AI to forecast crime before it happens. Sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi film, right? Well, here's the catch. Because it relies on past crime data, predictive policing can actually reinforce biases, unfairly targeting marginalized communities. Civil rights groups have already started calling for a ban, warning that these algorithms could lead to over-policing and further erode trust between communities and law enforcement. 11. DNA alone cannot define biological identity. When Karen Keegan needed a kidney transplant at 52, she never expected to uncover a genetic mystery. Tests done to find a compatible donor among her 3 children reveal that 2 weren't biologically hers. Further testing confirmed that Karen was a human chimera, someone with 2 distinct sets of DNA. In her case, 2 fertilized eggs had merged early in development, giving her cells from both. Her story not only challenges the assumption that DNA alone defines who we are, but it also raises serious questions about the reliability of genetic testing for establishing biological relationships. I mean, what implications does this have for how we define identity? 10. There's an artist with over 100 different personalities. Kim Noble is an artist unlike any other. Living with dissociative identity disorder, or DID, Kim has over 100 distinct personalities, each with its own voice and its own artistic style. Her condition, rooted in severe childhood trauma, causes her to shift between identities, sometimes without even realizing it. What's remarkable is how each personality creates unique art. From abstract works to surreal scenes, every piece reflects the perspective of a different self within Kim. Her art has gained recognition and has been exhibited widely, drawing attention to both her creative talent and the rare phenomenon of DID. 9. The math tutor-turned-meth Kingpin. Stephen W. Doran, a former Massachusetts state representative, found himself in an unexpected role. Math tutor by day, meth dealer by night. Diagnosed with stage 3 melanoma in 2012, Doran was facing what felt like a death sentence. Sound familiar? Much like Breaking Bad's Walter White, Doran decided to break bad himself. Over the next year, he transformed into a meth kingpin operating out of Boston. When he was busted in 2013, police found $50,000 worth of meth and $10,000 in cash, an amount that Walter White only scraped together by season 2. In the end, Doran pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 3 years in prison and 2 years probation. 8. The Yakuza's soft side. The Yakuza, Japanese version of the Mafia, are notorious for their large tattoos and fearsome reputation. In fact, some people in Japan with non-gang-related tattoos still face discrimination because of the association. However, in the wake of the devastating 2011 earthquake, the Yakuza showed a different side. They sprang into action, sending over 25 trucks loaded with essentials like diapers, food, flashlights, and water to the hardest-hit areas. One Yakuza member summed it up perfectly. There are no Yakuza or ordinary citizens or foreigners in Japan right now. We are all Japanese. We all need to help each other. It was a surprising moment of solidarity from a group typically surrounded by mystery and fear. 7. The Mark of the Beast. Depending on your culture or upbringing, you might be familiar with the Mark of the Beast, or the dreaded number 666. For For many, this number is tied to the Antichrist and is seen as something to fear. In fact, there's even a name for this phobia, hexaconta-hexaphobia. But for others, 666 is less a symbol of terror and more a source of wild theories. People have claimed to spot the mark everywhere, from social security numbers to credit cards, and more recently, smartphones. And if that sounds a little out there, wait until you hear this. Typing www supposedly translates to 666 in Hebrew, although the sixth letter of the Hebrew alphabet is Vav, so The Google Chrome logo has hidden sixes, and Apple's original computer sold for $666.66. For some, these coincidences are a little too close for comfort. And yes, in Hebrew, the alphabet is also the number, so Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Dalet, Hey, Vav, Zayin, Chet, Tet, so it's still like 1, 2, 3, 4. So a Hebrew clock actually just looks like it's alphabet. More bonus facts for you guys. I got you. So that's why some people say Monster energy drink. They're saying the M is made up of 3 Vavs, so Vav, 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 666. So, more bonus facts. I'm on it today. List 27. Now I think I'm getting like 3, so it'd be at list 28. Anyway, moving on. 6. There are strange lights on the moon, and they're still a mystery. I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but people have been spotting mysterious glowing lights on the moon for centuries. Today, these sightings are called transient lunar phenomena, or TLP, but even with all our advancements in modern science, they're still an enigma. Reports of these lights go back over 1,000 years, like in 1178, when 5 monks in Canterbury claimed they saw a flaming torch spewing fire and sparks on the moon's surface. In the 1700s, Sir William Herschel himself observed glowing red patches he thought might be volcanic. The best and brightest in the scientific community have been paying closer attention to the phenomena since the 60s, and with over 300 documented observations by modern astronomers, we now have more than 2,200 sightings of TLPs on record. 5. NASA wanted to nuke the moon. Back in 1958, just after the Soviets launched Sputnik 1, America was rattled. Sputnik might have only been a tiny satellite transmitting a simple "I'm still alive" signal, but the US public saw it as a possible first step towards Soviet nukes in space. To shift the nuclear arms race back into their favor, the US Air Force came up with a drastic plan, Project A119, also known as a study of lunar research flights. Led by NASA physicist Leonard Reifel, the plan was to detonate a nuclear bomb on the moon to create a giant mushroom cloud visible from Earth, a "see what we can do" show of power. Yeah, really. Even Reifel suspected this was more about one-upping the Soviets than science. Thankfully, cooler heads prevailed, and Project A119 was scrapped. Otherwise, we might have never seen the Apollo missions or the iconic moon landing. 4. The islands that disappeared. Atlantis might be the most famous lost island in the world, but islands have disappeared in the Pacific too. Teonemanu, part of the Solomon Islands, is one of them. Hundreds of years ago, it vanished without a trace. Most scientists agree it likely sank after an underwater volcanic eruption triggered a massive landslide, pulling the island under while tsunamis wiped away what was left. Then there's Sandy Island, which is even stranger. First chartered by Captain James Cook in 1774, Sandy Island showed up on maps for over 2 centuries, and even on Google Maps until 2012, when Centuries went to confirm its location. To their shock, they found nothing but open ocean, with depths over 4,300 feet where the island was supposed to be. Did Sandy Island really exist? Well, the maps, records, and even satellite images hinting at its outline seem to suggest that it really did. 3. MIT researchers tricked Google's AI into thinking a turtle was a gun. Researchers at MIT recently showed just how easy it is to fool AI systems. By making tiny adjustments to a toy turtle shell, they tricked Google's Inception AI into thinking it was a gun. And they didn't stop there. The AI was also fooled into identifying a baseball as an espresso and a cat as guacamole. While Inception could identify an unaltered toy turtle with no problem, just a few minor changes threw it off completely. It sounds silly, but it actually raises serious concerns about AI reliability, especially since similar tech is used in self-driving cars to read road signs and scan surroundings. I mean, if a simple tweak can make AI confuse a turtle for a rifle, or a cat for guaca-frickin-mole, it begs the question, how much can we really trust these systems to get it right? 2. The history of trolling is much longer than you think. In addition to providing countless opportunities for learning, connecting, and communicating, the internet has also produced something less appealing: trolling. And while you might think of trolling as a modern internet phenomenon, it actually dates back thousands of years. One of history's original trolls was Diogenes of Sinope, a Greek philosopher from the 4th century BCE. Also known as Diogenes the Cynic, he made a name for himself by provoking and mocking those around him, without the help of social media. Diogenes was known for doing everything from loudly interrupting Plato's lectures to spitting at people, living in a barrel, and even walking around with a lantern in daylight, claiming he was looking for an honest man. When asked to name the most beautiful thing, Diogenes' answer? Freedom of speech, a sentiment that would probably resonate with his more modern contemporaries. 1. When your local pub just won't do. With pubs in nearly every corner of the globe, it's no surprise that some are in truly unusual places. Ice bars in chilly climates? Check. Mountaintop pubs for skiers and hikers? Absolutely. There's even an Irish pub at the base of Mount Everest. But if you're craving a drink somewhere a bit less exotic, Belgium's Vasbar has taken the boring laundromat experience to the next level by combining it with a full bar and restaurant. Designed for anyone who hates wasting time, Vasbar lets customers load up a washing machine for around €6 or $6.50 and a dryer for €3 or $3.25, then settle in for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. I mean, what's not to love, right? So if you ever grow tired of your newfound love for board games, and if you don't have 99 other personalities to keep things interesting, well, now you know where to go. Compliments of List 25. And that's a wrap. Now, normally, I would suggest another fun video right here. Maybe not fun, but interesting. Some of these topics aren't fun, but I have something even better. My brand new channel, Dark Roast Detectives. If true crime and mystery stories are your thing, you don't want to miss it. I'm digging deep in some of the most interesting cases and puzzling suspects out there, and honestly, I think you'll really enjoy it. So hit the link to check it out. And if you're sticking around here, no worries, then I'll just see you in the next one. So catch you guys later.